All right. So some say they are hailing this, and some say that here the government goes again, unilaterally imposing their will, because this, of course, would affect states that do not recognize same-sex marriage. So we will have that open for discussion. Also, I want to quickly point something out to you and pick up on this a little bit later on with some other guests. And that is, we hear about the 1%. The evil 1%. We heard Sam Zell criticized and lampooned by Christopher Hahn here on our show last week for being a whiny crybaby. And what Zell was saying and what others are saying is you don't demonize those who are successful, as Barack Obama has done, as Barack Obama has made policy of doing. You don't try to destroy wealth. You don't try to discourage wealth. You don't try to tear apart people who have succeeded by telling them they didn't do it. You welcome it. You relish it. Because not only do they pay most of the taxes, and I'm talking well over 90% of the taxes in this country, but they make most of the charitable contributions. Now, Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm no fan of his for various reasons. Nonetheless, he and his wife topped the list of the biggest U.S. donors, philanthropic donors, by giving away over $1 billion in 2013. Now, everything is relative, okay? $1 billion to him may not be, you can figure it out what it would be to you in your salary range. But nonetheless, that's $1 billion. And if Mark Zuckerberg wasn't a multi-billionaire, he wouldn't be able to do that. In fact, the top 50 U.S. donors gave $7.7 billion to charity last year, up 4% from the previous year. And the biggest donors gave money to causes including children and youths, environment, religion, the whole thing. So the rich give back. As you can see from here, 50 donors giving almost $8 billion to charities and worthwhile causes. So let's all stop demonizing the left, shall we? All right, folks, we now welcome in, well, first I want you to hear, coaches at the University of Missouri are now explaining how they divided players up into small groups at preseason football practice last year to a team exercise to have the students and the players talk a little bit about themselves. And that was the beginning of the journey for Michael Sam, defensive lineman, who 2 days ago, or yesterday, made this statement. This is cut number 50.
I'm Michael Sam. I'm a football player, and I'm gay. Is this a huge deal? I understand that it is, but my purpose and focus right now is playing football.
All right, joining us now is our friend, our friend, but he's really my good friend, Jared Max, former ESPN radio talk show host, and he is openly gay. He came out on the air several years ago. Hello, Jared.
Hey, Steve. How are you, man?
I'm good. So, your reaction to Michael Sam and his statement?
I was right in the middle of enjoying the Beatles special last night, and all of a sudden everything changed. My phone blew up with all this people texting me, hey, you see what's going on and whatnot, and then all of a sudden lining up interviews for today to talk about this because something like this happened. And just like much with Jason Collins, an opportunity to speak. This is very different than Jason Collins. For starters, Jason Collins never got picked up by the NBA. Where it could be similar to Collins, Steve, is that until this guy proves that he can make an NFL team, we know he will be drafted. He figures to go 3rd, 4th, 5th round. But I understand on the CBS Sports board, my brother emailed this to me before, blew me away that apparently that his draft ranking where he was has dropped maybe from like 90th down to 180th or something like that. I don't know if that's a misprint or whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if he falls in the draft a little bit because teams are going to know that there will be a little bit of extra something that comes with it. To hear words like baggage, that's somewhat offensive, as are words like a distraction. We don't need this distraction. Well, how about the guy who just got out of jail? How about the guy who beats his wife? How about the guy who's had 6 DUIs? That's always a very convenient argument, a distraction.
Well, all right. I agree with some of what you said, and I disagree with some of what you said. First of all, when he sits there and says, my main concern is playing football, I got to feel if his main concern was playing football, then his timing is extremely ill-advised and poor. Because let me let you hear what else he said in cut 52, and we'll put that together, and you could reply. Go ahead, 52.
I'm coming out because I want to own my truth. I'm comfortable who I am, and I didn't want anyone to break a story that without me telling it, and I want to tell it the way I want to tell it. You know, it's 2014. I can't tell society to agree with this or not to agree with this, but hopefully society will rally around me and support me too.
See, he's looking for society to rally around him and support him. But yet he says his main goal is football. And just that not only he doesn't have to ask for people, certain aspects of society to rally around him. Training camp, game after game, every move he makes, every play he's in, every time he's pulled, whatever, is the microscope will be on. And I could understand a team saying, unless this guy's a superstar, we don't need this. Why do I need this? Do you know sports? Do you see that?
I understand, Steve. I honestly don't think that the microscope is going to be there that long. I think a lot of this right now is almost it's a freak show of sorts to people who don't want to acknowledge that they have gay friends, that they have gay family members, or they themselves might be gay and in gross denial. I think that this goes away very quickly. I mean, I realize it's just MLS compared to the major sports, but we have an openly gay player and somebody who's, a young, good-looking kid at that who can be the superstar. We don't see highlights of Robbie Rogers on a regular basis. I think this goes away quickly, and honestly, Steve, I don't think Michael Sam, say the start of Week 1 NFL season, let me ask you this. You think Michael Sam was going to be the only openly gay player in the NFL?
Do I think he's going to be?
For Week 1 next season, you think he's the only one in the NFL?
I don't know. Why? Is someone else coming out that you know about?
No, I actually saw something on some site, some gossip site, which mentioned something about I don't even want to say it because it's probably just
okay.
gossip.
Well, I got to tell you, I had heard that there was something brewing regarding the NFL months ago. Which never and it's and involved in it somehow was a name in another sport. That we would all know, but I don't want to say it either because I don't even know what the connection is. But maybe something will come out. But you say, see, I think the opposite. I mean, the soccer player aside, nobody in the world knows who he is, and to be honest with you, only soccer. I mean, nobody really cares. But look. I mean, the media is already all over this wall to wall. We are already all over this wall to wall. You've been on shows all day, wall to wall. So I don't see how it's not going to be covered. From day one.
The same way that we've been all over wall to wall with Alex Rodriguez coverage for years, and Alex, I've helped make me a broadcast career talking about Alex. I'm not kidding. I mean, thank you, Alex, for the gift that keeps on giving. I lost my spot.
No. You were talking about how he's a distraction. So they're all probably you were going to say. I don't want to put words in your mouth. There are distractions in sports.
There are distractions in sports. I just think that this is something which is going to go away pretty quickly once everybody realizes what does a gay football player look like running. Okay, yeah, he looks like everybody else. And what's very interesting here, Steve, is that his teammates they all knew. So they had this team building exercise you were saying before the season. He came out to his teammates. It was a thing. Hey, tell me something about you that I don't know. And he had something written down and apparently crumpled it up, threw it out, and just said, I'm gay. And the reaction apparently was, yeah, we know. They knew for this entire football season, and nobody said anything. We just learned about it now. So doesn't that beg the question, how many other situations, how many other teams in America, high school, college, professional, you could think maybe some of our biggest stars out there, wow, this one was gay, this one, yeah, believe it or not, maybe. I mean, the numbers.
Of course, just like we have gay soldiers, and we always had, and always will, and we have gay athletes. But the point is, he's chosen to make a point of it. You know what really ticks me off? Two things I want to address with you real quick. One, the Daily Beast, Ben Jacobs writes a piece that this guy is the new Jackie Robinson, which is what they said about the basketball player, which I thought was ridiculous. I mean, to me, it's as a big an insult you could throw at Jackie Robinson for what he went through This guy, no matter how he's treated, no matter how his career turns out, will not be traveling separately with the team, will not stay at different hotels, will not be cursed openly on the field, and the players encouraged to do it and get away with it. There's absolutely no comparison to Jackie Robinson. Do you agree?
Steve, I agree. I mean, you can't say no comparison, but the comparison, it's grossly wrong, and it's disgustingly unfair to Jackie Robinson and players who went through what Jackie Robinson went through. I don't know if you can see Jackie. He's up there on my wall, a classic poster.
I see it. I see it.
Jackie Robinson said you want to see breaking a barrier. But you know what? I wonder about this because you hear people say, do we really need to hear about this? Is this something we really need? And no, nobody wants to hear about it. But how do you think, I always think how Bill Russell being received in Boston at a time. You think it was easy to bring Bill Russell into town, into a place where African Americans were not going to be very much widely accepted, let alone on the good old white Celtics. Sometimes, like with anything, medicine does not taste good. And at some point, Steve, this will be no big a deal that the news media, which by and large is not run by, say, the youngest generation. Well, the youngest generation is playing by and large in the National Football League. I don't think this is a problem for players. I think this is a problem for the press, potentially for owners, the people who are, owners, average age of an owner, probably in his 60s, I'm going to guess, in the NFL. And for players, mid-20s.
All right, well,
there's your answer. I think it's generational.
All right, well, let me ask you this. And this is my problem with gays in the military serving openly, and that is I have heard from our military that if straight military men feel uncomfortable showering in the same shower or sleeping in close quarters, too bad about them, let them leave. And I don't understand that attitude. I mean, sure, there are gay men in there now. And I'm not talking about the threat of a sexual attack. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about awkwardness. What if a man legitimately feels awkward around walking naked around another man who's naked when he knows, because that man made a point of saying, hey, I'm attracted to men? It would be like men and women naked in the same locker room. We don't do that. Do you understand sensitivity on the part of some men who might feel uncomfortable in the NFL?
I'm going to think those incidents are going to be few and far between. And if I can borrow from my old buddy from ESPN, Colin Coward, who I was listening to this morning, that's not a me problem. That's a you problem. You know what I have a problem with, Steve? I'm not kidding. I brought this up recently. I go into the gym locker room. Now, obviously, we all change in front of other people or shower in front of others. And people who've been playing sports have been doing it on a regular basis for forever and ever. And you've showered with gay guys and they're there all the time. Nobody makes an announcement.
But
hey,
nobody made a point to say, hey, I'm attracted to men. And now I'm showering with men naked. I mean, that don't you see the difference?
I do, but it seems like it's probably such a small number. And again, that's a you problem, not a...
Well, you could turn it around and say gays are a small number, and a straight guy could say to you, that's a you problem, not a my problem. I mean, you got to be sensitive to both sides, don't you?
Steve, you know what I would do? If I was in the military, and obviously I can't speak because I'm not there, but if I was, and I felt a need, I wanted to be open and honest and come out, I would probably say, hey, guys, listen, I'm aware that some people might be uncomfortable with this. Don't worry about me. I'll grab a shower on my own. But I do honestly believe, again, in the NFL, these people, they've been, Michael Sam's been showering with his teammates in Missouri for how long? And they knew he was gay. And yet their season improved. Imagine that. Imagine that the guy came out and all of a sudden he had the best season of his career.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. No way am I meaning to imply that a gay player can't be the best player at his position in the history of the league. I mean, probably some have. So I'm not saying that. Hey, great conversation, Jared. As always, we love talking to you, man.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
Take care. Jared Max, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, we will be joined by Grace Marie Turner, president of the Galen Institute, and Newsmax contributor Hank Scheidkopf, right here. Lots to talk about on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.